Hey everyone, welcome back to part 4 of our MechCommander Single Mech Challenge. We've made it to the halfway point, but we've still got a big task ahead of us. Just a quick side note, if you've enjoyed watching this run so far, and I would hope so since you've made it to part 4, please consider dropping a like and subscribing to this channel. It would really mean a lot. Anyway, we are back in the mech bay preparing for the next mission. I repair the newly salvaged Mad Cat W. But it turns out our mech and vehicle inventory is full, so we can't proceed yet with buying any more vehicles. We need to do some housekeeping. That means stripping the components from a ton of salvaged enemy mechs and selling them off to whatever in the world this store thing is. I never fully understand what it's supposed to be exactly, but it is a useful game mechanic. Right when I think I'm gonna get to test out my new mech though, I realize I'm limited to 15 tons for this mission. So I drop in a lone scout car and head in.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors prepare for combat.
In Operation 4 Mission 1, we are tasked with 2 objectives. Link the friendly APC with a stolen Masakari mech and use the mech to destroy the enemy orbital guns. More on that particular mech in a minute. Technically, it could be argued that this mission forces us to violate our 1 mech per mission challenge task, but since 0 mechs is less than 1 mech, I think we can let it slide. I scout ahead, revealing a few vehicles, which are easily destroyed with an artillery strike. Basically, this mission is designed to be one with minimal forces, so I don't expect too much trouble for a challenge run where we are always running undergunned. Further into the city, we start encountering more enemy forces, namely some elemental infantry, 2 aerospace spotters, and a couple of scout cars. Our only armament is a single laser on the APC, so fighting them head-on isn't an option. I try to outrun them to the southeast, but soon hit a dead end surrounded by trees. It quickly devolves into a cat-and-mouse game where I am definitely the mouse, trying to dodge enemy airstrikes. Since I get a few seconds warning for each strike, as long as I keep moving, I should be okay. I head back to the north and again am blocked by trees. However, there is a thinned-out path that is blocked by just a single layer of trees. I try to use the APC laser to shoot the forest, but it fails to ignite despite repeated shots and I have to dodge another airstrike. This gives me an idea. Instead, I drive forward purposefully into the range of the aerospace spotters. Now that our friends have opened a path for us, I make a run for it to the north. Gaining the high ground vision reveals the powered-down Masakari mech with some not yet activated harasser vehicles nearby. I quickly send the APC to capture it. The enemies quickly spring to life, attacking the APC. Their damage output is low though, and I'm able to survive long enough to reach the mech. Now, with the mech in our possession, I proceed to unleash chaos on the opposition, quickly wiping the floor with the defending vehicles. The Masakari, or Warhawk as the clans call it, is an 85-ton assault-class mech. This jump jet-equipped model boasts an impressive mix of clan ER PPCs, long-range missiles, medium-range ER lasers, and close-range heavy flamers. While slow, it can still slightly outpace an Innersphere Atlas, and has the added advantage of strategic mobility from the jump jets. Now, I feel the need to mention something here. While the concept of a mission where you can only bring minimal vehicles to capture a mech is cool, it always felt like kind of a bit of a cop-out to gain what would be argued as the most powerful mech in the game, fully intact, completely for free. I guess I just like the challenge of earning these through salvage rather than being gifted them through mission objectives. But I digress. I clear out the nearby remaining enemy vehicles and take a moment to repair in the newly captured repair bay. Marching northwest, we encounter a couple of other light mechs. While they are somewhat annoying swarming underneath the ERPPC range, they are no match for the Masakari.
Took him down, sir. Copy that, sir. The enemy is engaging. The enemy is engaging. Enemy mech.
I clear both orbital guns and we're in the clear.
Mission objective
Fire
complete.
Target destroyed.
Mission successful. Commendation for low drop weight.
We're back in the mech bay, and we can finally test out our Mad Cat W we scored from the finale of the previous operation. I decide to try a full energy configuration. 3 clan ER PPCs with as many medium-range clan ER lasers as I can cram in there. I opt to bring Firestorm as Hunter has maxed out most of his stats already. I also decide to bring a mine layer along. I'll explain why right after this. Let's get going.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors prepare for combat.
For Operation 4, Mission 2, we are tasked with 2 objectives. Destroy 7 of 12 ordnance trucks, and, optionally, destroy 12 of 12 ordnance trucks. By now you all know the drill though. We have to complete the optional objectives, so we're going for a perfect 12 out of 12. Our mech in Force Group 1 is dropped off on a hill overlooking the enemy base containing the vehicles, while our mine layer in Force Group 2 is dropped off to the northeast. We're warned in the briefing that once the enemy is alerted to our presence, the vehicles will scatter from the base. Due to the fact that I can only realistically cover 1 or perhaps 2 routes with a single mech, I'll need the mine layer to help cover the remaining routes. I send my Mad Cat to the east to link up with the mine layer, while I have it start mining the road. We're soon challenged by a Hunchback 2C medium mech, which gets completely obliterated by our Mad Cat.
Firestorm took him down, sir.
A lone Uller also attacks from the east and is quickly dealt with.
Enemy mech destroyed.
I start to try to lay mines on the road heading into the forest when I attract the attention of one of the Firestarter defenders. As soon as I fire on him, it sets off the base alarm and the vehicles scatter. I try to catch those fleeing west with my only artillery strike, but it's not enough. I decide to take the info I've gathered to the next attempt.
Mission failed.
The next go starts similarly. I use the mine layer to cover the east escape route while I clear some defenders and some trees with my mech. I decide to push south rather than nearer to the base to try to avoid tripping the alarm and give myself more time to set up. It looks like there are various hidden turret emplacements, perimeter alarms, and enemy defenders spread throughout the map. Our next foe is a Centurion, which we're able to defeat soundly. I try to use some of the forest cover to minimize incoming damage, but it's starting to stack up. Further in, I clear a cleverly placed alarm before it can go off and keep pushing forward. I concentrate on clearing additional paths through the forest, which should allow us to take shortcuts later if need be. I then encounter an LRM carrier, an Uller light mech, and a von Luckner Gauss rifle vehicle. I do defeat them all, but at the cost of even more armor.
Took him down, sir.
Further forward, I'm accosted by 2 more LRM carriers, whose first volley blows through our already thin armor. I've taken too much damage at this point and I'm forced to restart.
Mission failed.
On the next attempt, I decide to switch things up. I opt to leave behind the mine layer and instead bring a refit truck and a scout car, hoping I can beat this mission and save the extremely limited and valuable mine layer for a future mission. I also replaced most of the ER lasers with a 4th clan ER PPC. I again clear the defenders to the southeast of the base. Pushing deeper into the map, I encounter a particularly devious perimeter alarm setup. It's situated behind a clump of trees, forcing me to run past them to be able to destroy it, all the while being fired upon by 3 hidden turret emplacements. I use my scout car to do some further scouting this time and discover a hidden container stack that I can capture for salvage. but I opt not to grab it with the car. Hopefully you know by now what those little barriers indicate at this point in the run. Unfortunately, I carelessly lose my scout car while clearing the hidden turrets, but it's done its job at this point. I clear some mines with my Mad Cat and claim the enemy salvage. I discover some turrets covering the road near the middle of the map, which could very much come in handy in dealing with any escaping vehicles. I clear a path and claim the turret control. The next few minutes are spent clearing various vehicle and light mech defenders as I work my way to the southwest. I need to make sure I scout and clear as much of the map as possible before alerting the base, giving me the best chance of intercepting all 12 vehicles. Crossing the bridge to the far south, I start to head north when I encounter 2 more enemy mechs. Having the refit truck has proven critical, as I'm able to take favorable fights like this without worrying about accumulating too much damage over time.
Firestorm took him down, sir. Order acknowledged. Took him down, sir.
As I complete the circuit to the western edge of the map, I discover rows of explosive fuel tanks along the road, and I begin to form a plan. These will certainly come in handy. I take out the final perimeter alarm and head back around the map, ready to execute my assault. I move just close enough to draw out the fire starter and begin to engage him.
Down, sir.
The vehicles and escorts then scatter, 4 to the east, 4 to the south, and 4 to the west. I defeat the light mech and begin to deal with the 4 vehicles heading east. As I'm destroying them, I flip over to the west just in time as the vehicles are passing through the fuel tanks. I drop my only artillery strike at the end of the road, catching everything in the ensuing blast. Finishing the 4th vehicle to the east, I'm left with the remaining 4 heading south, but they've split up and are already getting pretty far away. The turrets I captured earlier do some damage, but not nearly enough to destroy any fleeing vehicles, so they're unfortunately a bust. I dash forward only to be intercepted by a Cougar light mech. I ignore him though and run behind 2 of the vehicles, destroying the first. And then the second. There's no time to waste as the final 2 are approaching the edge of the map. If even one escapes, we will fail and have to start over.
Copy that, sir. This is Firestorm. Reporting vehicle destroyed. Order acknowledged.
Mission objective
Firestorm
complete.
here. Reporting vehicle
Mission
destroyed.
successful.
That is literally as close as it gets. 28 enemy units destroyed, 8 enemy mechs, and most importantly, 1 mine layer saved for a future mission.
Commendation for low drop weight.
Back in the mech bay, I remove the PPCs from the Mad Cat and load up the Masakari J with 4 PPCs, some ER lasers, and a set of Streak short-range missiles. I bring Hunter along this time. Maybe he can practice his terrible jump jet skills.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors prepare for combat.
For Operation 4 Mission 3, we are tasked with 3 objectives: capture the base HQ building, destroy all enemy mechs, and protect all 3 base turret control towers. We're dropped on a mountain to the south, sandwiched between enemy fortifications to the northwest and approaching enemy mechs from the southeast. The clear course of action is to beat the enemies to the turret controls and use the turrets to my advantage. I use my jump jets to scale the cliffs to the right of the turrets and grab the first turret control. While I'm heading toward the western turret control, a couple of LRM carriers sneak in and destroy the first turret control before I can stop them. This leaves my Masakari and the other turrets to deal with the large group of hunchbacks charging in. I drop an artillery strike on the road and start to take them down one by one.
I'm on it, sir. I'm on it, sir.
Unfortunately, multiple mechs break through, and with my slow speed, I can't keep them from closing to short range, causing me to start eating heavy autocannon shots. It only takes a few hits to blast through the mech's armor, ending our mission.
Mission failed.
On the next try, I instead approach via the cliffs to the south of the turrets, quickly taking both turret controls. This time, as the first hunchback approaches, I jump over the wall to gain a good firing angle beyond the walls, when he suddenly stops in place. It looks like I broke his pathing by jumping to a spot with no possible walking approach. This could come in handy.
Fair price for everyone.
I finish him off, then jump to the low ground to draw in his friends. Using the enclosed platform, I'm able to control how quickly they approach, so I'm able to pick them off one at a time.
Fair price for everyone.
Enemy components captured.
Once this area is cleared, I jump over to grab the salvage and head north towards the objective. Despite my earlier tactics, I've already taken a pretty significant amount of damage, so I need to be careful. I run across some enemy vehicles, including some LRM carriers, but manage to clear them without too much trouble. I again begin making my way north, when suddenly I see multiple enemy contacts on my sensors.
Mission failed.
Well, that didn't take long. 3 waiting clan vultures unleashed a massive LRM barrage, ending our attempt. I'm gonna need to change my approach. On the next try, I again use the enclosed high ground to control the rate at which the hunchbacks attack and destroy them with no issues. I send a camera drone to the objective, which reveals an inactive enemy base with a large amount of turrets. This is what I'm supposed to capture before the enemies arrive. I head for the base, but just as I approach, I'm swarmed by a large group of other light mechs. I manage to capture one of the turret controls in time, but everything quickly devolves into chaos, pitting my assault mech and 5 missile turrets against the horde of enemy light mechs. I begin to pick them off one by one, but the incoming damage rapidly accumulates. Just when I think I'm getting the upper hand, the 3 vultures arrive.
I'm on it, sir. I'm on it, sir. Hunter here.
I quickly drop an artillery strike at the base entrance while continuing to fight the Ullers with my Masakari.
I'm on it, sir. I'm taking fire. Hunter here. Heavy crap coming my way.
While we've made a valiant effort, the enemy firepower is just too much.
Use like targets.
Mission
Mech come
failed.
up lame.
I'm encouraged though. This is definitely doable. I just have to be faster. On the next attempt, I don't bother with exploiting the pathing, letting the hunchbacks filter in between the turrets and hitting them from long range with my PPCs. I leave the turrets to finish off the last one while I dash off to the north, hoping I can beat the Ullers to the base. This time, I managed to grab all 3 turret controls, and importantly the gate control, which complicates their approach. Then, we engage the enemy. 2 go down, but they swarm me at close range in the base, preventing me from backing off and firing.
Yes, sir. Hunter here.
I use my jump jets to gain range, causing them to scatter.
I'm on it, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fair price for everyone. Taking fire. I'm on it, sir.
It's a chaotic scene.
You got it.
Just as the last alert falls, the vultures arrive.
You got it. I'm on it, sir.
I turn to engage them. Since I have the gate control, they are unable to enter, stopping
Hunter
the
here.
entrance.
Taking fire.
I take advantage by dropping an artillery strike.
Hunter here. They're shooting me up good, sir.
That's 2 vultures
it,
down,
sir.
but I'm heavily damaged.
Hunter.
Armor
They're
components are
both
failing.
They're shooting me up good, sir. I'm on it, sir.
I try to back off to let the turrets take down the vulture, but he keeps lobbing missiles over the walls. Just as my Masakari is knocked down, the final vulture falls.
Mission objective complete.
I use the repair bays to fix up my mech and grab the HQ building, securing the victory.
I'm on it, sir.
Unfortunately, as you can see on the Masakari, we've lost a couple of weapons, specifically a Clan ERPPC and a Clan LRM rack. However, at this point, we've managed to salvage enough enemy equipment that these are no longer unacceptable losses. I remove the weaponry from the Masakari and load 4 ERPPCs and 1 large ER laser into our Madcat W for a change of pace, long-range weaponry paired with much higher maneuverability. I load up Hunter along with a scout car and a couple of Pegasus tanks and drop into the mission.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors prepare for combat.
In Operation 4, Mission 3, we are given 3 objectives: capture the industrial complexes, defend the industrial complexes, and destroy all enemy forces. Easy, right? We're dropped on the southern side of the map, so I split up my forces to get high ground vision to the east and west. The briefing has informed us that there are clan forces heading in to secure the industrial complexes. It's not long before we see 2 columns of mechs approaching from the southwest and southeast. Clan Hunchbacks on one side and a mixed group of Clan Heavy Thor and Loki mechs on the other. Clearly, we're meant to intercept one of these groups before they can get to the base. On the other hand, we're not meant to be fielding just one mech, so that's not a very realistic option. I see bridges ahead of both of the enemy columns, so I decide to use my Madcat to destroy the western bridge, while ordering the tanks to destroy the eastern bridge. Hopefully this will slow them down and give me an advantage later. After taking care of the eastern bridge, I flip my camera back to the center with my Madcat and, I'm not sure what this guy's doing, but I'm pretty sure mechs aren't supposed to walk there.
Yes, sir.
With the bridges gone and 1 mech at the bottom of the river, I send my tanks and scout car to the north to explore while harassing the Hunchbacks across the river. The scout car runs into a large group of light mechs. Not great. The tanks have much better luck though and reveal a mech repair bay. We'll definitely be visiting that later. After finishing off the only remaining jump jet capable Hunchback, I turn my attention west to deal with the rest of the group. They get a bit confused with their pathing, so it allows me to deal with them one by one rather than as a group. So far, so good. As I'm finishing off the last Hunchback, the Lokis and Thors continue west to the 1 remaining bridge. I run back across the water to engage them at range, but as soon as I land a shot, they take off at full sprint. I run to the west and manage to arrive at the bridge first. Timing it carefully, I destroy the bridge just after the first mech crosses, splitting the group. I manage to take him down as the remaining mechs head further west for a different crossing.
Feels like target practice.
While I was distracted there, though, a couple of light fire starters sneak in and start destroying the mech repair bay. I run my tanks in, but I can't get their attention off of it. I send my Madcat back as well and quickly drop an artillery strike on the enemies. But it's too late. They destroy the repair bay just before the strike lands. I don't stand a chance against all of the remaining heavy and light mechs, so I'm forced to restart.
Mission failed.
I decide to be a bit more aggressive on the next attempt, engaging the Hunchbacks with my Madcat and drawing them into the bridge. Then destroying it before they can run across. The two equipped with jump jets then jump across, and I unleash a full volley on one of them.
You got it. Spare parts for everyone. Hunter here.
Okay, that was awesome. I don't know what it is about this particular bridge, but some really strange stuff keeps happening here. I begin harassing the remaining hunchbacks across the water and destroy the third bridge before they can cross. I drop an artillery strike on the approaching heavy mechs to the southeast, which in hindsight seems more like a mistake as it just makes them run faster. And then it's time to mop up the remaining hunchbacks.
Hunter here. Spare parts for everyone. You got it. Hunter here. Spare parts for everyone.
Okay, so far so good. Some exploring reveals the light mech group we saw earlier, and I decide to head to the east to use the repair bay. That's when I spot another Loki heavy mech approaching from the north. While not quite as heavy as our Mad Cat, the 65-ton Loki heavy mechs are nonetheless extremely dangerous. This variant packs a couple of clan ER PPCs, negating our advantage at range, along with multiple backup weapons. They're also every bit as fast as our Mad Cat. The W variant is even more dangerous, sporting 2 clan Gauss rifles. Since my mech is still fresh at this point, I move up to begin engaging him. We trade multiple volleys and I score a big knockdown. But this guy just doesn't miss. Sometimes luck just isn't on our side. On my next attempt, I decide to get even more aggressive against the lance of hunchbacks. I use my range advantage to kite them around the southern mountain range, avoiding too much damage while taking out the entire group.
I'm on it, sir. Spare parts for everyone.
I then head north and blow up the bridge behind me, ensuring the heavy mechs have to take the long way around. I then head north and start working on destroying the group of light mechs, continuously retreating out of their aggro range and slowly wearing them down. While I'm busy there though, the Loki that ruined our day last time starts charging it from the north. I'm forced to back off and start engaging him instead. I don't know what it is about this particular mech, but he again hits with 100% accuracy with his PPCs. Luckily for me, I score a knockdown destroying his long-range weapons, so I'm able to draw him back to my waiting tanks at the repair bay. I use my combined forces to finish him off and the 2 light mechs that also charged in to attack. I repair up and I'm confronted with more attack waves from the north. First, a Bulldog heavy tank and a Gauss welding von Luckner. Then another heavy Loki. We take some heavy damage, but in the end prevail against all of them.
Hunter here.
I barely have time to repair though, as 2 more hunchbacks attack from the north. I manage to back off just before they get into heavy autocannon range and begin kiting them with my long-range weapons.
This is Hunter. Spare parts for everyone. I'm on it, sir. Spare parts for everyone.
And just as I finish them off, a 3rd heavy Loki joins the fight. Once again, I have to try and survive the back and forth PPC duel. Eventually he falls as well, and again we've taken pretty heavy damage. I repair up once more and then resume my attack on the light mechs. Soon they're cleared and I can move closer to the industrial complexes. There's just one problem. The 4 heavy mechs from earlier have long reached the objective and are now guarding it, poised to attack me if I get close. I simply cannot engage them directly, so I maneuver just close enough to get their attention and back off, hoping I can get them to split up somehow. I then see a promising option: 3 fuel tanks near the buildings to the right. I head into the warehouse area and eventually get one of the Thors to follow. The Thor is a 70-ton heavy mech armed with medium-range autocannons and a close-range heavy autocannon. They're just as fast as my Mad Cat, with a similar amount of armor and almost as much firepower. They're effective at medium range and downright scary at close range. Fortunately, I've managed to do enough damage at range to this one without having to use the fuel tanks on him. After he's down, I managed to draw in one of the Lokis. And again, I get some critical knockdowns, allowing me to leg him and then finish him off. I use the break in the action to repair up and head back towards the remaining 2 heavy mechs. I managed to grab the Thor this time and pull him away from the base.
Hunter here. Enemy mech destroyed.
That was an awesome shot. Just 1 heavy mech to go and some vehicle defenders. I start running back to the final Loki when I hear a bunch of autocannons and explosions in the distance. My heart sinks as I see a large group of Bulldogs and Von Leckners destroying the industrial complex, and there's not a thing I can do about it.
Mission objective cannot be completed. Mission failed.
Well, that was a lot of time and effort for nothing. I guess the enemies are willing to destroy the industrial complexes even before I capture them. But all we can do is press forward. On the next attempt, after engaging the Hunchbacks and destroying the vehicles, I head all the way to the northeast, where I kept getting attacked by waves of Lokis, light mechs, vehicles, Hunchbacks, and the Thor last time. It's time to engage the enemy on my own terms. I find the spot on the map where they spawn in and hit each of them as soon as they appear. Not only does this give me the advantage in the fights, but it means I can clear them much faster than last time, hopefully meaning I can prevent the vehicles from destroying the industrial complexes later. Instead of approaching the objective directly, I head west along the river. After clearing a legged Hunchback, I discover the heavy vehicles that ruined my run last time. I take the time to draw them into the hills to the northwest, destroying them one by one. Now that the vehicle threat is gone, I circle back to the east, destroying all of the defending enemy light mechs one at a time.
Spare parts for everyone.
I deploy a sensor probe to find the location of the final heavy lance, when I'm surprised to discover they are heading west, away from the objective. I can't just settle for capturing the objective though, I have to destroy everything, so I run after them, hoping to draw at least one at a time. As I engage, I'm further surprised to see that they keep running away. What are these guys doing? Where are they going? Are they gonna leave the map and cause me to fail the mission again? I destroyed the rearmost mech, but the other 3 continue on to the south. I keep running after them and engage the next mech in line, and then they've decided they've had enough, sprinting towards me at full speed. Oh great, this is not good. I run away north, but they start peppering me with Gauss rifles, doing heavy damage. I rush across the bridge and drop my only remaining artillery strike, hoping I can prevent them from crossing. It lands just in time to stop 2 of them, but I'm in really bad shape now. One Thor keeps pursuing and hitting me with his dual medium-range autocannons. I do some return damage and manage to get a slight gap between the mechs. Nearly every armor component of the Mad Cat is now critical. I'm hoping I can make a run for the repair bay or get to my vehicles to distract the Thor. As I'm scrambling for options, Hunter managed to turn and get a firing angle and land a crucial PPC volley.
Adios. Enemy mech destroyed.
That was very, very close. I make it safely to the repair bay and get my mech fixed up, but we're not out of the woods yet. I have 2 more heavy mechs to deal with, and I'm still very outgunned. As I head north, I spot some fuel tanks that may be useful here. I draw the enemy mechs in, then send my Pegasus tanks to blow them up rather than risk my mech. And yeah, I way overestimated my tank's ability to destroy these, and my plan backfires completely. I try to shoot at the fuel tanks with my Mad Cat, but the buildings prevent me from gaining line of sight, so I have to make a run for it. I again start taking significant damage as I flee the heavy mechs, so I fall back to an alternate plan, the 3 fuel tanks to the east that I'd planned to use earlier. I dash through the buildings and turn to fire.
I'm on it, sir.
Mission objective complete.
The timing couldn't have been more perfect. Both enemy mechs are destroyed, and we are finally in the clear. I repair up and capture both complexes to finish the mission.
Mission
Hunter here,
successful.
reporting building capture.
36 enemy units destroyed with a whopping 26 enemy mechs. Some really nice clan salvage too.
Commendation for low drop weight.
Back in the mech bay, I take the time to strip the clan components from the newly salvaged Lokis and Thors. I opt for the Masakari J this time with quad PPCs and a mix of short-range clan pulse lasers and medium-range ER lasers. I give Hunter a break to heal up, instead taking Firestorm and a mine
Commencing
layer.
deployment. Mech warriors prepare for combat.
In Operation 4, Mission 5, we're tasked with a single straightforward objective: destroy all enemy mechs. According to the briefing, we have a large group of clan mechs outflanking our forces. We're tasked with stopping them. I begin the mission by laying mines along the obvious incursion corridor and jumping to the high ground with my Masakari to reveal the terrain. That's when I'm unexpectedly attacked from the north by Cougar light mechs. I start to engage with my Masakari, but quickly realize at least one of the Cougars opted to run north to escape. It's already far too late.
Mission failed.
Okay, so maybe a slow Masakari isn't the way to go. I switch back to my Mad Cat W with quad PPCs and 3 ER lasers.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors prepare for combat.
Seeing how fast the enemy mechs run in, I immediately head east to engage them with my Mad Cat while setting up a defensive line with my mine layer. But to my chagrin, some of them opt to run for it rather than stay and fight. This time I decide to go all out, running several vehicles for scouting and a repair truck. I drop most of the scout cars to the north to scout around when one spots a turret base. Now we're talking. I restart and add a Pegasus to the north group to capture the turret base, while leaving the Mad Cat and mine layer in the forward drop position. While the Pegasus captures the turret control, I order the Mad Cat to destroy the bridge. Or at least I tried to. I really need to tighten up my execution here. This time, I successfully destroy the bridge before the Cougars cross and manage to grab the turret control. I spot some pressure tanks which could assist in destroying the Cougars. I finally manage to destroy it after a few volleys, but it's not even close to stopping them. I know I keep restarting, but we're getting more and more information as we go. I change it up on this attempt, leaving the mine layer in the forward drop position but putting the Mad Cat to the north. I set up a minefield along the road to the south, while sending my mech to capture the turret base. A couple of artillery strikes is sufficient to destroy the bridge, again forcing the Cougars to the turret base. I move forward, revealing a large field of explosive tanks and another set of turrets. Now these will come in handy. Only then do I realize that one of the Cougars managed to crit over the bridge before I destroyed it with the artillery strikes, and he starts attacking the mine layer. For some reason, though, he decides to run to the south, directly through every single mine. I'll take it. As the other 5 Cougars pass through, though, I make a mistake and waste my first volley on the lead mech. This allows 2 to slip through before my second volley connects on the tanks. I manage to catch one, but the other just gets out of weapon range before I can destroy him. Again, execution is key here. I have to do better. On the next try, I get the bridge in time and then focus on my timing with the pressure tanks.
Order acknowledged. The enemy is engaged.
Now that's what I'm talking about. Perfect hit. Now that I've dealt with the Cougars, we finally get a preview of the next wave of enemies, and it's not good. A lance of heavy catapults approach from the southeast, while a lance of heavy Jaeger mechs arrive from the south. I set my mine layer to work as quickly as I can, but another set of signals appears from the south. A star of heavy Loki Omni mechs appears behind the Jaeger mechs. Things just went from very bad to terrible. All that's standing in the way of 12 heavy enemy mechs is a Mad Cat and a measly mine layer. How I'm supposed to deal with all of this, I have no idea. As soon as the first mechs hit the mines, the group starts sprinting to the north. I drop an artillery strike in their path, hoping to ignite the fuel tanks, but they run too far to the right, and it only inflicts minimal damage, and not a single mech goes down. It's honestly not all bad news though. As both groups charge ahead, they funnel into a narrow path through the forest, igniting all the mines on the road and giving me the chance to drop some artillery strikes, finally bringing one of them down. I run Firestorm in to engage the weakened mechs. A couple of volleys in, the first mech falls.
Firestorm took him down, sir.
Some of the others are hobbled, so they fall far behind. Just as I'm starting to take the rest down, the catapults on the east side of the river make their way to the north, and am forced to retreat to face them. I honestly have no chance against them, and soon I take too much damage. But we have some information we needed, the key to beating the overwhelming amount of enemies, the choke point through the forest. On my next attempt, I miss the timing on the artillery strike and I have to start over. On the following try, I take out the bridge, but I'm not fast enough with my mech to capture the second turret control. I'm too close to ignite the pressure tanks, so I restart again. I can't stress enough how efficient I have to be to even have a chance at beating this, making sure I reveal and destroy the bridge in time, controlling Firestorm to the east to capture the buildings that ignite the fuel tanks, all the while simultaneously setting up a big enough minefield in the correct path to catch the heavy enemy mechs later in the mission. On the next go, I manage to capture the base to the east successfully and ignite the tanks in time. I do miss the lead mech in the explosion, but he's easily mopped up with my Mad Cat. Then the main attack force comes in. The Jaeger mechs start stepping on lots of mines, and eventually one of them ejects. At this point, the Lokis join in, setting off mines and sprinting forward. I order my mine layer to stay as far ahead as possible, mining the forest road. They funnel into the forest, taking heavy damage but still catching up with the mine layer. As they slow down, I drop artillery strikes, further inflicting damage, but some of them still make it through and start engaging my mine layer. I can't bring my Mad Cat to assist as I left him to the east to deal with the incoming catapults. Speaking of which, I flip over to him just in time to catch all the catapults in the blast radius of the remaining pressure tanks. It only destroys 2 and hobbles another, so I'm able to move back and finish off the lead mech. At this point though, some of the Lokis have made it through to the north and I failed the mission. I'm encouraged though, as this proves that we can beat this mission. I give it another try, catching the light mechs in the pressure tank blast. I managed to get a really strong minefield earlier in the mission this time, so both groups of heavy mechs end up taking more damage and getting knocked down much earlier. I decide to assist with some artillery strikes to soften them up. To the east, I again destroy the tanks near the catapults, though they don't take nearly as much damage as I'd hoped. Despite the better results in the forest minefield, the remaining 3 catapults overwhelm my Mad Cat and I have to restart again. I decide to sub in Hunter for his better weapon skills, hoping it'll give me an edge. The next attempt ends when I'm too slow with my mine layer, so it comes under attack before reaching the forest line. After that, I mess up when trying to blow up the tanks near the Cougars. Miss the pathing with the minefield I set on the road, and later mistime the artillery strike, letting a Cougar cross the east bridge. I did mention how important execution is here, right? And then on my next try, I'm out of position with my Mad Cat when the group of Cougars arrives. I quickly run back out of the blast range and just manage to spin around to target the tanks. That explosion never gets old. I then focus on getting a good minefield set in the path of the heavy mechs while repairing my Mad Cat in the backfield. I also destroy several wall sections on the eastern base to give the mech line of sight to the remaining pressure tanks. The southern group then approaches and we score a lot of mine hits. They then break through and dash towards the forest. I try to land an artillery strike in the open, but only manage to catch one of them in the blast. As they approach the forest, I decide to drop all of my remaining strikes, hoping to catch them just as they're slowed down, hitting the first mine in the forest entrance. And I manage to land some huge hits, destroying one mech and heavily damaging several more. In the meantime, the catapults reach what's left of the eastern fortifications, and I destroy the first set of 2 pressure tanks just as they pass, destroying 1 catapult. I then destroy the other set of tanks, destroying the lead 2 catapults. That leaves just a single remaining catapult to be finished off by my Mad Cat. Back at the forest, we can see the aftermath of the artillery strikes and mines. All but 3 of the mechs are completely destroyed, with 2 of them being legged and 1 stopping back in the distance. All that's left is a bit of cleanup duty.
Mission objective complete. Mission successful.
18 enemy mechs destroyed while 345 tons under drop limit, and some nice clan Gauss rifle salvage from a Loki heavy mech.
Commendation for low drop weight.
Okay, that one was probably the toughest mission yet, but there's still more work to do. Back in the mech bay, I remove the components from the Mad Cat and give Hunter a break to recover his health. I remove the clan Gauss rifles from the newly acquired Loki W and load both of them on our Masakari along with 2 ER PPCs and a mix of pulse and ER lasers. I also do remember to load some clan advanced sensors as well. I'd hate a repeat of what happened earlier in the run. Now, on to the final mission of this operation.
Commencing deployment. Mech warriors prepare for combat.
For Operation 4, Mission 6, we are tasked with 3 objectives. Destroy orbital guns Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Seems simple, right? I start exploring the high ground around our drop point and clear a few sets of enemy vehicles nearby. Heading east, then southeast, we secure some container stacks, and then I move north towards the middle objective. We come across a bridge guarded by a vulture, along with 3 Gauss-toting Von Luchters and a couple of aerospace spotters. I get their attention by attacking the vulture, then drop an artillery strike on the bridge as they funnel across. They're quickly joined by a heavy Thor, and I realize I've bitten off a bit more than expected. I drop a couple more artillery strikes, destroying the bridge, vulture, multiple vehicles, and forcing the Thor to retreat. I take advantage of my mech's jump jet abilities and move into the island, destroying a couple of LRM carriers and grabbing the sensor control. Then I see 2 heavy signals charging in. I back off and jump out of the base when the enemy is revealed, 2 Thor heavy mechs. They immediately close to close range and begin peppering me with medium and close range autocannons. Remember how I mentioned earlier how dangerous these were? Well, there you go.
Mission failed.
On the next attempt, I again clear the middle bridge, but decide to scout north towards that objective first. Exploring the high ground reveals a large group of fuel vehicles, along with a Vulture and an enemy Atlas. We're going to have to be careful here. I burn down some forest to give myself better line of sight, then fire on the Vulture to draw the enemy in. Soon another Vulture and a large group of enemy vehicles join along and I pull back, waiting for the moment to ignite the fuel trucks. That was not as successful as I thought it would be. You probably missed it, but just as I set off the explosion, one of the Vultures ignites his jump jets and escapes unscathed. I've never seen this before from this game, and it's honestly quite cool. Not good for me, but quite cool nonetheless. I begin backing off as I simply have no chance against the remaining enemies, despite the damage the enemy Atlas took. I start working on the faster Vulture first and begin wearing him down. The next volley finishes him off, but the Atlas is right on top of us, and we exchange long-range weapons fire. He goes down, but I take heavy damage and lose most of my weaponry. Time to start again. I decide to change it up this time and take the Mad Cat instead, hoping the increased mobility will help with the mission. I attack near the center bridge as before, landing a big hit on an enemy Vulture just as he jumps across the water. I circle around to the southeast to see if I can draw some enemies off of the objective, when 2 Thors begin pursuing me. Just as before, I cannot outrun these guys, and they don't seem interested in backing off. I turn to unleash some volleys, but they respond with constant autocannon fire of their own. They manage to stay within weapon range and, well, see for yourself. So much for that idea. Okay, forget mobility. We're going back to raw firepower. I again head north to see if I can take on this group. If I can't figure out a way to take these out solo, there's no reason to try anything else. I again move within range, but instead of staying close enough to destroy the fuel tanks with my mech, I drop an artillery strike, hoping to time it with the heavy and assault mechs passing through. Perfect hit. 1 Vulture is completely destroyed along with 3 of the 4 Von Luckners. The Atlas and other Vulture are knocked down and heavily damaged. I turn to face them with my Massacari and another Vulture falls. I back off a bit more and take the final shots at the remaining Atlas.
Took him down, sir.
Now that the defenders are defeated, we're free to destroy the first orbital gun and capture the enemy mobile HQ. This reveals part of the map for the second objective. I head south, and as I approach the archipelago, I drop an artillery strike, destroying 2 of the Gauss-toting vehicles but only damaging the bridge. As the group funnels across, I quickly drop a second strike, which does good damage, but surprisingly still does not destroy the bridge. I'm forced to run into range and destroy it with my mech. I then steadily move back, firing my Gauss rifles and PPCs as I retreat and defeat the remaining defenders. I move forward and jump across the destroyed bridge towards the base. This gets the attention of the 2 defending Thors. I quickly jump back and, for whatever reason, the Thor's pathing is confused and they both stop short, allowing me to pick the first one off safely at range. I jump across again, but this time the second Thor charges in at full speed and starts landing hits on our mech. I return the favor, landing multiple blows, forcing the enemy to retreat. I clean up the LRM carriers and walk forward, again drawing in the damaged Thor. It gets a little dicey as he's able to quickly close the distance and uses heavy autocannon. I quickly jump back out of range though and manage to finish him off.
Fire station. The enemy is engaging.
I get fixed up at the mech repair bay and move on to destroying the 2 orbital guns nearby. Unfortunately, at this point, I've taken a lot of cockpit damage, costing Firestorm a lot of health. He's down to just 2 health bars out of 6, and you can see the reduced effectiveness on the Masakari's health bar, despite the mech being fully repaired and reloaded. It's now time to move on to the final objective to the southeast. I start heading around to the far eastern edge of the map, hoping I can approach undetected, but I soon reveal an Atlas assault mech, who begins running north to engage. I use my jump jets to take a shortcut through the gaps in the forest to gain a lead on the lumbering Atlas, and sprint towards the objective. I soon stumble across a hidden turret and some proximity sensors. I waste precious seconds trying to back off into weapons range to destroy them before the alarms go off. So instead, I decide to just run for it. I run in towards the objective and start firing at the orbital guns. If I can destroy them, we should win regardless of the remaining enemies. I get some big hits, but the 2 defending Thors are immediately on top of our mech. I destroy the first orbital gun and move on towards the second. The Thors overshoot me, going out of heavy autocannon range, and I start destroying the second gun. But then the Thors turn and unleash their heavy weaponry. Well, so much for that. Please leave an F in the comments for Firestorm. Anyway, before I restart, I decide to take a look around at what we were facing at the end there. 2 Thors in the immediate vicinity, along with no less than 3 Atlas assault mechs. Any of those mechs alone have the firepower to do serious damage. We still have our work cut out for us.
Mission failed.
On the next try, I first clear out the northern objective, then clear out the second. I take a similar approach to the third objective, heading to the southeast. Again, the nearest Atlas starts chasing us, but this time I draw him further north before jump jetting south to the objective. I know to take out the perimeter alarm quickly and sneak around the objective to the south. I again go straight for the orbital guns, dropping a strike on one while attacking the other. The first goes down as the Thors rain down autocannon fire. I then move to the second and quickly manage to destroy it. It's just 1 damaged gun left. 1 or 2 volleys should do it. I turn to fire, and then the Thors knock me down. I don't manage another shot before being destroyed. So very close. Though, to be fair, even if I had succeeded, I probably would have lost some valuable components in the process. This time, I've again managed to clear the first 2 objectives. I decide to try a more methodical approach to engaging the enemies to the south, drawing in one of the Atlas mechs to the middle of the map and using my jump jets to confuse his pathing. Eventually, I wear him down and destroy him across the river, but again at heavy cost to both Firestorm's health bar and losing the left arm of my Masakari. I repair up and head to the southeast to draw out another Atlas. We have an extended back and forth fight as both mechs are configured for long-range combat. Even though I manage to land some solid hits, I take too much damage to the cockpit and lose my pilot. Despite the fact that I can repair my mech to full, the attrition to my pilot's health bar has proven to be a big problem on these extended missions. On the next go, I try to take better advantage of the environment, drawing an Atlas to the center objective and using the explosive tanks to do most of the work for me. I then easily finish him off.
Firestorm, enemy mech.
Next, I draw another Atlas in and begin to methodically engage him, backing up after each volley to try and minimize damage taken. This frankly only works due to the slow speed of the Atlas. I take significant damage, but still manage to secure the victory. I repeat the process with the next mech. I'm forced to run in the middle of the fight to repair, but manage to eventually take him down. Deja vu for the final Atlas. Now it's just down to those pesky Thor mechs. I send my scout car in first to the front of the mountain and purposefully set off the perimeter alarms, hoping I can draw the enemy mechs to the center of the map. Unfortunately for me, it doesn't work as they remain at the objective. I drop my last two small artillery strikes on the one Thor that I can see, inflicting minor damage. Well, there's nothing left to do but to attack the old-fashioned way. I bring up my mech and start destroying the surrounding proximity alarms and turrets. I cautiously step forward, hoping I can draw off just one of the Thors. I move back and forth, trying to find the edge of their engagement range. I finally get close enough to get their attention, but it's too much attention. Both Thors immediately sprint in my direction. Oh, great. I quickly turn around, hoping maybe I can get the Thors to disengage, but it doesn't work. I turn, trying to inflict damage on the quickly closing enemy. I only manage to do superficial damage before they both close in full weapons range. And then, well, see for yourself.
The enemy is engaged. The enemy is engaged. I'm out of weapons. This mech's almost
Mission
out of
failed.
weapons.
I try to fight it out, but all my weapons are destroyed and it's over. So, with no other alternative, I just have to run the whole thing back again. I work all the way through the first two objectives again, then start drawing in the 100-ton defenders to the center island. Once they're all dealt with, I move up with my Masakari and scout car. I drop both remaining small strikes on each of the Thors. I move the scout car forward, and this time I'm able to draw just one of the Thor mechs away from the objective. Now we're talking. I keep moving back with the car further and further away, trying to make sure I can engage him without his buddy interfering. Eventually he catches up to the scout car and destroys it, but it's done its job. I then engage. The first volley is a solid hit, but the second misses completely. He eventually gets distracted by the mech bay, so I take the opportunity to destroy the nearby fuel tanks. I finish him off soon after.
Took him down, sir.
Just one last defender to go. I run up with my repaired mech and engage the heavy mech. I don't get much damage off though before he closes the distance. It's now anybody's fight as he outguns me at close range. I run up my repair truck, trying to distract him while continually moving my mech around to get back into my full weapons range.
Firestorm. The enemy is engaging.
We're both heavily damaged. Either mech could drop at any second. When I finally get a knockdown, I back up to get some breathing room and hit him again. He then takes down the repair truck for revenge. We're both in the red, but I managed to get out of his range, slinging out one final volley. And with that, we're in the clear. It's just a matter of destroying the 3 remaining orbital guns.
Mission objective
Target
complete.
destroyed.
Mission successful.
49 enemy units destroyed, 12 enemy mechs, good salvage, a very damaged Masakari, a very injured Firestorm, and one more operation completed.
Commendation for low drop weight.
This marks the end of Operation 4 and the fourth part of this challenge playthrough, but there's plenty more to come. Thank you so much for watching this far. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please consider liking this video and subscribing to this channel, as it will help me continue to create classic game challenges in the future.